Oh my god, that was so freaking bad. Oh my gosh. What's up, gamers? Dreamcastguy here, and I just finished watching Geoff Keighley's opening nights live. This is basically the official beginning of Gamescom. Now, let me just start things off by saying that in the past, there have been some very good Gamescom presentations. This is basically like the late fall sort of E3 presentation for Europe. It's a chance to see games that are coming out this holiday as surprise releases, and a lot of times games that are coming in early 2022. Well, this was pretty freaking awful. Some of the games they showed off today were actually fantastic, and we're going to talk about those, but a lot of this was just a pure freaking cringe fest. I personally kind of hate the word cringe because I feel like it's just so reductive, but this was not a great showcase. Geoff Keighley claimed that he's going to be showing off 40 different amazing games and some new gameplay showcases, real live demos. It was terrible. The biggest problem about this was definitely the pacing of it. Today what we saw was awards for games that aren't out. They actually gave away special trophies for games that are not released. Now, to try and put into perspective how stupid this is, they gave an award for Best PlayStation 5 Game of 2021 to Elden Ring, a game that comes out in 2022. But wait, on top of that, keep in mind that we did have Ratchet & Clank, which is an amazing actual PlayStation 5 game that was released this year. Along with these awards, a lot of the stuff that won didn't even get trailers. Like just saying, hey, this is the best Nintendo Switch game, and they talked about that new Mario plus Rabbids game, but then didn't even show a trailer. What is the point, Geoff Keighley, of making up awards and then giving them away for games that we can't even play? Now, the other part of this presentation that definitely just drove me nuts is that between a lot of these cool trailers, for some of these games that did seem pretty fantastic, they did a lot of musical performances. There was an extended concert for Lindsey Sterling talking about Tales of Arise. There was a weird music video for World of Tanks. Genshin Impact is going to apparently have some sort of concert coming up. These things, look, music is great. Fantastic. Everybody loves a good freaking soundtrack. But this is so weird to try and basically be the Oscars. Geoff Keighley is so obsessed with being Hollywood that I feel like he's trying to take all these video games and shoving them into the freaking video game canvas of an Oscars award show. Okay, let's take a breath. Let's talk a bit about why this frustrates me and talk about some of the games that did look good. To be brutally honest, part of the reason I get so frustrated by these crappy mobile game trailers and all these musical performances is because I feel like it does detract from the good games. One of the trailers they showed today was for Lost Judgment, something I truly believe is going to be one of the best games of this year. And you know what? The trailer they showed off was about 17 literal seconds because they had to fit in so many other freaking performances, so many different live guest things. And that to me is frustrating. If you're doing a 2-hour-long show, every game should have a chance to really share the spotlight. But instead, because we had to have 5 separate Red Bull commercials in there, it makes it where we have less times for the games themselves. Now let's talk about some of the big reveals they did today, starting with the Saints Row Reboots. Now this was actually rumored for the last week or so, but they finally gave us a good chance at not just a cinematic trailer, but a short gameplay demo, short of like giving us a glance at what's going to be different about this. Now technically, this is not going to be Saints Row 5. It does seem as if this is going to be a new style of Saints Row. Now from the gameplay they showed off, I'm kind of digging it. It actually has, it sort of feels like a cartoonish GTA 5. Now what I mean by that is that previously, the Saints Row games were kind of extremely over the top. I mean, cartoonish aliens fighting against you and you're beating them up with sex toys and stuff. And while I did like that, I've been waiting for, personally, to see this game get grounded again, because originally the Saints Row series was kind of serious at the start, or at least more serious than it ended up. I'm curious to see what this is going to turn into, and I'm definitely going to be checking it out when that comes out next year. Now, I want to talk about this. There was a weird Avengers game showed off called Midnight Suns. Now, initially when the trailer starts, it shows off Wolverine and Doctor Strange Strange and Blade going against an army of vampires, which seems fantastic. Now, initially, this was a pretty fun surprise because a lot of these heroes and stuff are not people that are currently showing up in the Marvel movies, so I feel like a lot of people are kind of forgetting the idea of classic cartoonish Wolverine, the guy who has this yellow suit and the gigantic claws. This really seemed like a more comic booky style of Avengers. But then it turned out that this is going to be a tactical RPG. It's going to be some sort of turn-based strategy game that involves the Marvel superheroes trying to take on these legions of the undead. It's very, very bizarre. I'm curious, and I'm going to try and be open-minded about it, but man, does this not look like something I'd typically be into. This seems like such a bizarre mix of two different styles of game just poorly glued together, but that's kind of just Gamescom, I guess. Sometimes taking ideas and seeing what will sell. After this, they did show an Avengers like multiverse mobile game, but we're not going to be talking about any of the cell phone games they showed today because screw cell phone games. They did do a gigantic reveal for what was the next Call of Duty called Vanguard, and I'll just be honest, I don't care. This game looks so freaking boring. They did a very, very long demo about this. It was a big sneaking mission, and I will admit, the graphics for Call of Duty Vanguard seem to be practically photorealistic. It is just crazy groundbreaking how much they're managing to like push forward the ideas of like realistic grittiness to their combats. But also additionally, this game just looks so freaking brown. It looks so freaking washed out. I just cannot possibly care about Call of Duty, especially because honestly, this next Battlefield game that's coming out seems so freaking fantastic. And in my mind, I'm totally ready to play a bunch of Halo, which we're going to talk about here just in a second. And also, I'm totally ready for the idea of, more crazy, gigantic maps in the Battlefield universe. But right now, I just cannot care about Call of Duty at all. Now, next thing up was definitely the Halo Infinite teaser. I will admit that I'm halfway sad about this because they came out on stage and said, hey, check it out, we're showing off some new Halo Infinite stuff. It did this little tiny cool teaser trailer of like a Spartan rescuing a civilian who then grows up to become a Spartan herself. I actually thought this was cool. It's cheesy as heck. It's like that military propaganda of like, you gotta become a soldier. But I kind of dig that. I've always actually kind of enjoyed the cheesiness of the Halo universe, where everybody is just stuck in this perpetual war against these evil aliens. And as goofy as that is, it's kind of awesome. Like, I kind of like the guns and the universe and this just eternal conflict. It really works for that freaking game. The downside of this, though, was the fact that as great as that was to watch, this little tiny, like, teaser trailer, they did not tell us anything additionally about the Halo campaign. We still have no idea what Halo Infinite is going to look like, really, when it comes to single player. They did say the fact that it's going to have a lot of multiplayer. They did confirm today something that a lot of us have been nervous about, myself included. They did say the exact words, Halo Infinite's campaign and its multiplayer are both coming out simultaneously on December 8th, 2021. Now, that seems like such an obvious fact because they kept saying it was going to happen, but we hadn't heard a developer in quite a while just say, yes, it is coming out this year. I personally kind of thought it might get a last-minute delay. I kind of thought they'd push it to like early 2022 just because it seems like this game is kind of coming in hot. The fact that they're releasing it without campaign co-op is something that does still personally concern me a bit. Now, speaking of delays, I do want to talk about the unfortunate news that they did confirm the fact that Horizon Forbidden West has been pushed to 2022. Now, they did try to sugarcoat this. If you own Horizon Zero Dawn just got a shadow dropped patch. So if you own the game on PlayStation 5, the game does now run at 60 frames a second. That's going to make it look a lot freaking better. But I'll be honest, I am a bit disappointed by the fact that Forbidden West is being pushed because as somebody that does own a PlayStation 5 and does own his PlayStation 5, I love it. I play it every single day. I wish we had more PlayStation 5 exclusives this year. It's kind of weird that we had Demon's Souls originally. We had Sackboy's Big Adventure. I mean, we had Bugsnax, and then we had Ratchet and Clank. And I'm still kind of just sitting here and saying, okay, what's coming to my PlayStation 5? Only my PlayStation 5, other than like Deathloop this year. I'm just a bit let down because I want more from Sony. I want to see these games and actually play them for myself as soon as possible. let's go a bit more positive here for a bit and talk about a game that I feel like a lot of us are actually excited about, which is, of course, the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge beat 'em up. Now, this was a pretty small little gameplay segment they showed, but they did confirm that April O'Neil, the awesome news reporter herself in the famous yellow jacket, is going to be a playable character, but more than that, they unfortunately said that this is also being delayed till 2022. But the gameplay they showed off looks delicious. This is pixel perfect in the truest sense of the word. I feel like this is what retro games should be like. Like these games that are trying to mimic the classic style of gaming. This looks so freaking fantastic. I'm definitely down for whatever the heck they're serving up. It looks like it is going to be such a freaking treat. Now, I want to talk about two games here that definitely kind of surprised me, which was Super Monkey Ball, Banana Mania. They did show off a bunch of new mini games, and they also showed off that some classic Sega characters and beloved people from people like Yakuza and Persona 5, they're bringing in Morgana. Like, classic Monkey Ball is not something I've typically been into. I mean, I own a couple Monkey Ball games. I've played a couple of them, but they're not something I'm like super hyped about. I'm actually excited about a Monkey Ball game, which is crazy to talk about, which is also how I feel about Lego Star Wars. I do not give a crap about Lego, and I don't really care about Star Wars, but this Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga, seems pretty entertaining. It seems like it's like an interesting, it almost looks like a parody of Star Wars itself. It's got like goofiness, it's got like mocked animations and stuff. I'm probably going to pick that up, and even I'm surprised to say that because it's freaking Star Wars. Like, alright, that seems pretty interesting. I did get extremely excited for Splitgate. I've been playing the Splitgate open beta. This game, by its own definition, the developers have basically said that it's Halo 3 with portal guns. It is a shooter that has like some very great space physics, but also the ability to constantly create doorways in and out. So there's an interesting strategy to it of trying to pop out, shoot some people, jump through a portal, and escape. They've been doing a big open beta. I think the game technically released today. I think they just said they're dropping it, and it's called Season 0. It seems fantastic. I'm probably going to do a standalone video. If this video gets like a couple thousand likes, show me you're interested in it. Maybe I'll do like a separate Splitgate review because it seems like a game that definitely deserves some attention. Now I want to talk about Outlast Trials. I like the Outlast games a lot. I've played Outlast 1 and Outlast 2. They have a big place in my heart. In fact, one of my favorite reviews I've ever done was for Outlast 2. I beat it about 2 weeks before the game came out, and it terrified me so badly after I finished Outlast 2. I was trying to walk my dog, and I actually thought the major monster in that game, I felt like I kept seeing in my peripheral vision. I love the Outlast series, but this new one has me a bit concerned. Outlast Trials is going to be multiplayer. It has some sort of co-op in it. But more than that, now that we're having a chance to see the gameplay of Outlast Trials, it seems like a much more well-lit experience. And part of what worked the best about the classic Outlast games was the extremely deep darks of it. The fact that you had to have this camera, the fact that you were trying to creep through these terrible freaking almost haunted facilities. This being so well lit, at least in these trailers, makes me just a little bit wondering how it's going to play. I mean, I'm still going to play it. I'm still probably going to do a gigantic review because I do love the Outlast series, but Trials has me a bit more hesitant than I was about the other games. So there's just a couple games left that I want to talk about here, which is just some strange ones. Specifically, I think one of the surprise projects we saw revealed today that I'm probably the most confused by was called Blood Hunt. It seems to be a vampire battle royale where you're actually able to teleport around and use like blood magic to revive your friends. It is free to play. I don't know, this is still, I feel like we're still hitting that side effect, which is that games typically take 16 months to 2 years to create, even like a tiny indie project. So since Fortnite and things like, what is the thing called that Call of Duty has, whatever the Call of Duty Battle Royale is, you know, those are still just exploded like 2 years back. So we're still having this secondary wave of games trying to catch up to the Battle Royale hype. I don't know why anybody would want to play a vampire battle royale, but this seems to be very, very lackluster, which is one I'm going to talk about something. Some of y'all are going to get mad. I saw half of the internet extremely hyped for this weird game that was called like Dokev. It's like an anime city game, but it has the creepiest art style I've ever seen, where it has like this anime aesthetic and people being all like fake kawaii, but additionally, it's done in almost like a realistic style. It's not anime, it's animated. So it has this very creepy, like the whole thing is like this trailer of people like jumping around in cities and driving jet skis and killing some fun, cutesy monsters. Something about this really creeped me out. It felt like K-pop had like a weird baby with Balan Wonderworld, which is giving me terrible Balan flashbacks. I don't know what the heck Dokev is, but please fire it into the sun. You know, I've actually been talking about how I've been excited for Far Cry 6. A lot of the early teaser trailers for Far Cry 6 did win me over. I thought the game initially looked pretty fantastic, but I also kind of appreciate the generic Ubisoft open worldness at times. The idea of a gigantic list of collectibles and a set of objectives that's like a mile long is something that, to me, can sometimes be very entertaining. But something about this Far Cry trailer, it finally just broke my hype. I'm still probably going to play this game. I think I might still do a review about it. But Far Cry 6, in this trailer, the villain is talking about building his country into a paradise by being this ruthless dictator to control the population. And you know what? Once I make this world perfect, no one will care about the bloodshed. And apparently, he somehow has a cure to cancer. This game just seems so weird. It sort of just shatters my excitement because it's so outlandish and bizarre. Like the previous Far Cry games, even at their best, even at their worst, you could tell what they were going for. You know, you could tell when they were trying to parody actual elements of the world, or you could tell when they were trying to just go for a specific theme. This is just Bizarro Land. Maybe it'll still turn out great, but this trailer really kind of it was not good. Now, the final game they showed off, and this is part of what sucked about this, is today they decided to show a bunch of Death Stranding Director's Cut. Now, hot take, I like Death Stranding. I think Death Stranding is actually a pretty dang good game that gets a lot of freaking hate, but Death Stranding Director's Cut, this seems to improve pretty much everything about it. It seems like they're going to be installing things like a cargo catapult so you can just launch stuff to your objective. There's going to be a jetpack so you can hover off some of these cliffs and not stumble so much. They're adding in race tracks, so it seems like you'll be able to do like time trials. There's going to be a robot that you can construct. There's new missions that have a very Metal Gear Solid vibe to it. I think that Death Stranding Director's Cut itself is good, and I'm glad that this is just a big expansion of the content that a lot of us already enjoyed. My issue is that this was the closeout of Gamescom opening night live. This was what Geoff Keighley himself determined to be the piece de la resistance, the game to end all games. This was the blowout, was a director's cut of a game from 3 years ago. It just feels weird that we didn't get something, a bigger closeout, that big mic drop thing. This is Gamescom, and this is the best you can show off? What the freaking heck? It was a very, very bad show. Quickly here at the end, I do want to just completely randomly, I do want to say I've been playing Psychonauts 2. A lot of y'all have been asking me some thoughts about Psychonauts 2. The game is fantastic. I don't particularly love the art style. I enjoyed it when it came to the PlayStation 2 version, the original Xbox version. Like, when I was playing Psychonauts 1, the heavy aesthetic certainly worked. Something about Psychonauts 2, as much as I'm loving the puzzles, the writing, the jokes, the world is so freaking well built, my problem is that at times Psychonauts 2 just becomes a little bit funky looking, but I'm still probably going to beat it. I've been loving my first 5 hours, and I'm going to go back and play a lot more of it. But, oh man, Gamescom is officially begun. What do you guys think? Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below, and I think I need to take a nice long walk, because this... woo, that was not good. Geoff Keighley, stop giving out trophies. Stop giving out awards for games that are not released. Do you want to make another Cyberpunk? Because tell you what, buddy, this is how you get things cyberpunked. Thanks so much for watching, gamers. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm trying to hit 250,000 subscribers as fast as possible, but do me the biggest favor of all, and keep dreaming. I freaking scratched my neck right before I started filming. God, I'm dumb. Ugh, whatever. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, you know, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.